Buenos dias, everybody. Good morning. Hello, friends. ¿Cómo están todos? Good morning. I'm just going live here on Instagram. Live. Buenos dias. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Wesley. Good morning, Yvonne. Good morning, Alita. Hello, everybody. Good morning, Maxine. Good morning, Jean. Good morning, LeBlanc. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Ash. How's it going, sis? Okay, so this is Instagram. Okay, so I have to make, good morning, Joanne. Add, confirm. I'm getting in the hang of this. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Friday, you guys. Today is such an exciting day. Good morning, Sarah. Guess why it's exciting? Good morning, Reagan. Good morning, Angelique. Good morning, Billy Canuck and Kevin. So many beautiful people coming in this morning. Sarah's hanging out. Good. She's just here to hang out. I get to still say hi to you though. Good morning, everybody. Guess what's happening today? My Mr. Man is coming to see me today. I'm so excited. I'm just pouring myself a cup of crushed coffee. My Mr. Man is gonna be here tonight at like 7. I am so excited. Good morning, Tabitha. Good morning, Shay. So here's my coffee. This is my crushed coffee. This coffee is from Colombia. This is top shelf Colombian. It's so good with notes of chocolate and cherry. It is so good. And oh, by the way, for anybody who buys, a jacket or a scarf, I'm gonna sneak in a little sample of crushed coffee for you, okay? I found my sample packs yesterday when I was doing some fun stuff around the cafe, and I was like, oh, I need to send samples of coffee. Oh yeah, this is one, by the way, this is one of the jackets. Good morning, Anne. You guys, we had such an incredible conversation last night in the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood. For the women who were on the sisterhood call, thank you for joining last night. That was so good. Actually, I got several messages about it from people just saying that they loved it and that it was so moving and that it was inspiring and educating, and they just, you know, we're creating this really beautiful space in the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood, which is the private membership group. And it's only $29 a month to be in this group. We do 3 calls a month. But right now, you can save $10 by putting a coupon code in when you check out. So for $19, you're getting what is really such a beautiful community of women who are all coming together to deepen their relationships with each other and to deepen their relationship with God and to talk about things that we don't normally talk about in social circles. Last night we had such a good call about healing the sister wound and building really strong friendships with other women. That was the topic last night. And I was so moved by the call. So put some hearts in the comments and maybe share some of your thoughts, some of your takeaways if you were on the call, okay? Wasn't it so good? I mean, these are conversations that we need to be having all the time, right? And so I'm just so grateful that I get to have this conversation, be facilitating this conversation with the women in the group. It just means so much to me, truly it does. Anyway, so we had a great call last night. Love it, love it. And by the way, this jacket is up for grabs. So I'm wearing it today because I want you to see how I like to wear these. By the way, because I know Angelique bought one the other day, This is what I like to do with these pinstripes. It's kind of like Mozart-esque, right? So I like to wear these blouses that have like the big sleeves underneath, right? Anyway, this one's a little big, just a little big for me. I think it's a large, and this is the one that has glam on the back. And the glam, I'll take it off so you can see it. Good morning, Joy. Yeah, the sleeves, it's really fun to do like the dramatic sleeves in these. So this is what's on the back. It says glam. Oops, there's like a little thread there. And it's pearls and gold. It doesn't really sparkle here the way it sparkles in person, right? And let me see what the size is. Let me look. It's a little bit big on me. And I'm a medium. I'm trying to see the size. Anyway, I would say it's a medium large. You know, it's a medium large. So it has the Uncommon Woman logo on the front. Wait, where is it? I think okay, there. So it's got the logo on the front. I love how slick this logo is. It's so gorgeous, right? So it's got the logo on the front, it's got glam on the back, and then if you decide that you want it, then I will add something that's really small that is symbolic of you. So I know what I'm adding on Angelique's. I found something that is totally suitable for her. So anyway, that's the jacket. Maybe I'll wear it for a bit, just because it's a little bit chilly in here actually. And then when you buy the jacket, right, because you're supporting the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood, you're supporting the ministry when you purchase any of the products that I make on the lives. But then also, I will write in the inside a little prayer for you, like a private message for you, just for you, okay? So this is the jacket that's up for grabs. You can go to the link tree, if the mods can put it in the link tree, or if you're on TikTok, for example, just go to the link tree in the bio. I believe it's at the link tree on Facebook and on Instagram. But you can always send me a message, DM me. You can also send an email to info@theUncommonWoman.com and just say, I want that jacket that Romy had on. And if more than one person wants it, I'll just do a second one. Like, that's no problem, okay? Anyway, this is like a medium, like a small large. It comes here and it's got the, anyway, okay, I just wanted to share that with you. So yeah, so it comes with an extra little thing that I'll bling it up for you in a special way, and I'll put a private message in, and I'll slip a sample of crushed coffee. That's a lot. Like, come on. Anyway, okay, so back to the call last night. We had such a beautiful call, and my moderators can watch the chat if there's anybody who wants to purchase it. And I think Juanita, is Juanita on? Juanita, you asked about the size of the jean jacket that I had on yesterday. I just want to get this stuff out of the way, right? Hi, baby doll. How you doing, sis? I miss you. I miss you. How's it going? Okay, this jacket right here, you guys, this jacket right here, this is the one that I had on yesterday. I just want to show it to you one more time. It's a medium. Hi, Lady Pratt Priscilla. I know you're watching from Kenya. I love that you're coming in from Kenya. Like, this is global. We're going global, guys. Okay, so look at how cute this, okay, I would wear this like this with the jean, right? So this is the one that I talked about yesterday, right? A little bit stretchy, all the things, okay? And this is the one that says glam on the back, and it has the Uncommon Woman logo underneath it, okay? And it's got the rough edge, remember? Okay, so this is a medium, and this one is on the link tree as well. So there's only one jean jacket button. You just go there and you purchase it. Okay, now if more than one person wants it, like if you go there and you click it, and I see that two people, I'll just make another one. Okay. Anyway, I love these jackets. They're so fun. They're so fun. Hi, Shay. I don't know if I said hi to Shay yet. Good morning, Dreamweaver. Okay, so I'm going to do something that I haven't done yet before I get started on the live. I'm just going to quickly, I'm so glad that you guys love it. I have like the weirdest style. I can go like Victorian, and then I can go like rocker the next day, and then I can go like sporty spice the day after that. Or I can do all of that in the same day. You know what I mean? Okay, so one of the things I wanted to do today was give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions. So is there anybody boho, that's another one. I'm not a lot of boho, but sometimes. Sometimes in the summer when it's really hot, I like to go boho. So I thought what I would do is take a question or two. So is there anybody who has a question? Maybe you have a question about relationship, or maybe you have a question about friendship, or maybe you have a question about business, or maybe you have a question about the stuff that we've been going through, or maybe you have a question about me. Ask me anything. So I thought we could take a minute or two and do like a little Q&A before we get going. Wouldn't that be fun? So if you have a question, and I'll probably take like 2. So if you have a question, just ask it in the comments, okay? Can be about anything, honestly, you guys. And if I can't answer it, like if I don't have an answer for you, then I'll just say, you know what, I can't answer that. But I think it would be kind of cool to open it up a little bit. I would love to bring somebody on. The only problem with that is that I can't bring somebody on and have them on all 3 platforms, or I totally would. I think it would be so cool to do an interview. Good morning, Bead Wired. Okay, so think about your questions, and I will keep watching the chat. And if anybody has a question about anything, it's glitchy for you. I don't know why, because everybody's plugged in. Everybody's got all the bars. All right, so last night we had a really beautiful call for the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood. And the focus was healing friendship, like healing wounds and building deep friendships. And now what we're doing is next week, we're gonna be like that's the theme for the month of June in the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood. But it all ties in with what we've been doing here. Because this week we've been focusing on 2 Corinthians 9 verse 8, which is all about abundance, right? And when we're talking about abundance, it applies also to our relationships. It applies to friendships. It applies to the people that we have in our life, because there are too many people. There are too many people that feel alone and isolated. Too many women who don't feel abundant in their relationships. Now, one of the things that came out last night was that the women in the community are starting to feel an abundance when it comes to friendships. And that is so powerful, because we are not here to do life alone. God does not want us doing life alone. And there's all kinds of scripture to back that. But in the meantime, I just want you to consider that when we're talking about abundance, it's not just money, right? I just have to log into my notes here, 1 sec. My computer always times out, and then I have to put the password back in. And when I'm talking, I can't put the password in. Good morning, Elizabeth. I always get the password wrong when I'm talking, right? Okay, make sure that you share this out to your community while I get my notes pulled up here, because this is gonna be a really good live. So what we're doing is we're recapping everything that we've talked about. Oh man. I'm getting all kinds of notifications here from all different places. Okay, we're recapping what we've talked about over the last week. Sorry that I repeated myself. Let me just pull my notes up, you guys. Maybe share in the comments something that has really moved you, something that has shifted you since you've been coming on to the lives. Like, what have you learned? Here's my notes. What have you learned, or what are you recognizing about yourself that you need to heal? This was one of the questions that I asked the women last night on the live. I said, what do you need? Where do you need to heal your sister wound? Like, where is your wound? And what is it that you need to heal in order to be a better sister, in order to be a better friend? What is it that you need to heal? And then there was a question I asked at the very end of the call, and I thought it was so good. And the question was this, And think about this, for all of you women out there who are friends, for all of you women out there who are sisters, either whether it's sisters in the Lord or you're actually like, you have a sibling, right? Or maybe you call one of your dear friends sister. I want you to think about this question. What kind of a sister are you? Are you a quality sister? Are you a consistent sister? Are you a dependable sister? Are you a trustworthy sister? Are you a vault? Are you a safe place for secrets and for sharing? Are you a supportive sister? Are you reciprocal in the relationship? That's something that I'm learning in this new relationship that I'm in. I'm really focusing on reciprocity, because I don't know about you guys, maybe put a 1 in the comments if this resonates, but I haven't always been great at reciprocating. Sometimes I've found upon reflection in my relationships that I took a lot, but that I was a little bit closed off. I didn't give all the way. That's been my history. And because I used to be a runner, and what that means is whenever there was a challenge or an obstacle, my first response was to run. Now, I didn't always run, but I wanted to run. And so the other side of that is that I didn't always give fully of myself. And what I'm wanting to do more than anything in this new relationship is give fully, because the person that I'm in relationship with deserves to have all of me, and also to have what he gives me reciprocated to him, because he's a giver, he's a lover, he's so amazing, and he loves me so well, and he deserves to have that in return. But I need to practice that. So I'm working on the kind of partner I'm being. So what kind of sister are you when it comes to friendship? Are you a fair weather sister, meaning if there's nothing else going on, if you're not busy, if you don't have a boyfriend? This is a big one. I have people in my life who I have recognized as a little bit fair weather. What that means is that if they don't have any other plans with anybody else, then they have space for me. But I find that I'm often kind of like the backup, and that gets exhausting after a while, right? And I don't think it's because they don't love me. I don't think it's that they don't care about me, and I don't think it's that they don't value our friendship, but they have anxious attachment. In other words, if they have a partner, they give all of their time to their partner. They give all of themselves to their partner, and they go all the way in to the point where everybody else is abandoned, because they have to be with their partner 24/7, 365. And then when that relationship ends, they come back and they're super present. And I noticed the cycle. And so I have stepped away from women who use that as a cycle, because I don't have time for that. I'm not somebody's plan B. And my friends, exactly, Ash, that's funny, Ash just said that. They make you a plan B. And I am not somebody's plan B, whether it's a friendship or a relationship or anything. And it's important for us to recognize that the abundance that we can have and give in relationship is just like the abundance that we can have and give with our finances, with money. Because it's an exchange. Just like money is an exchange, just like wealth is an exchange, so is friendship. So is the energy put into friendship. So this conversation today is about abundance, but it's about the bigger picture of abundance as we close this week off and as we close this message off. So let's move into the notes. Okay, I'm gonna light my candle, which is this to signify that we're moving into the notes. Nobody wants to be a plan B. Nobody wants to be somebody's leftovers, you know? It's like taking a bite of sandwich or taking the cheese out of the sandwich or eating all the good stuff in the sandwich and then giving somebody the leftovers and saying, "You want my sandwich? oh, I really want you to have my sandwich. And then when you look at it, there's nothing in it, right? I just find that so, like, I don't do that. When I have a partner, I work really hard to maintain my friendships. That's something that I've always done. And I think it's one of the reasons why I've had friendships since, like, I have friends that I've had, my oldest friend, meaning the friend that I've had the longest, we've been friends since we were 5. And I have friends all the way from high school into when I was a waitress, into there's a whole group of women that I worked with when I was in Mexico that we're still friends with. And then the women that I have grown to be friends with since then. I have friends from all walks of, or all seasons in my life, because I'm really good at maintaining friendships. But I haven't always been good at ending friendships that didn't feel good, that didn't feel abundant. And that's something that I've worked on in the last few years, is untying the knot of the friendships that take but don't give enough. They might give some when it's convenient, or when they don't have a boyfriend, or when they don't have other things to do. And it took me a long time to learn to step away from those kinds of friendships. Just untie the knot and walk away. Because what I want is to be in relationships that are reciprocated. Right? I love my kids' leftovers. I hate wasting food. That's a total mom thing, right? I'll eat that. I never did that. Okay. Oh, so Sarah, okay. Oh, I see Sarah. Okay, you moved over to a different account. Okay, got it. All right. So the title of this call is God is Able. All right? So just remember, at the beginning of 2 Corinthians 9, verse 8, it says, and God is able to provide you with every blessing in abundance, so that by always having enough of everything, you may share abundantly in every good work. So we've been talking about what that means, what abundance is. The first few days we talked about lack. Remember, Monday and Tuesday, we talked about what lack is. Then Wednesday and Thursday, we talked about what abundance is. And today we're going to focus in on and talk about this idea that God is able. So just a reminder, yesterday I spoke a little bit about the fact that God is able, but that doesn't always mean that he's going to do it. Right? So he's able to bring your ex back to you, but he doesn't want you with that sloppy Joe. He's able to get you back into that job that you got fired from, or that you got laid off from. But he doesn't want to, because that's your past, not your future. He is able to fill your bank account with millions of dollars. If he can bring people back to life, he can put money in somebody's bank account. But he can't trust you with it. You haven't worked for it. You haven't been moving forward. You haven't earned it. And so he doesn't. But he's able. But let's remember that just because he's able doesn't necessarily mean that he will. And this scripture says, God is able to provide you with every blessing in abundance. Every blessing. So that means everything. He can do anything. He can give you abundance in any area of your life. Now think about that. That's an incredible promise. But there's one thing. He wants you to be faithful. That's always been his ask. And so he can do anything, but he's not going to just do anything for anybody. He's not going to have fair weather friends. He wants kids. He wants loyal family. And he has made a promise that when we are faithful, that we have eternal life. I need to be a better friend, but I have a full plate. 4 kids at home and 1 in university. You got to make choices, right? I know people that have 8 kids, that have 6 kids, that have 3 kids, and they have strong friendships. How do you do that? You make time for it. I'm going to say something, you guys, and this might trigger a few people. This might poke the bear. But if you have an hour, and you don't have to tell me how much time you spend scrolling on social media, okay? But if you have 30 minutes or an hour or 20 minutes or 3 hours to scroll on social media, put your phone down and go make friends. Because when you are on your deathbed, nobody's going to come and see you except the people that have to come see you if you've spent your whole life scrolling and you haven't spent any time connecting. People, we are so blinded by our habits that we don't even see that we all have the same 24 hours in the day. We all have the same opportunity to make the time. Instead of sitting on a couch and scrolling, phone a friend and say, I need a 30-minute fast coffee. Can you do it with me? That's how you preserve friendships. Right? I don't scroll much. I have better things to do. That's amazing. All I'm saying is that friendships take work. Right? Friendships take work. You guys, my best friend lives about 4,000 kilometers from me. But we FaceTime. And we FaceTime when we're driving. We FaceTime when we're getting ready for work. We FaceTime when we're in bed. We FaceTime when we're at the hair salon. Like if I'm getting my nails done, I'll FaceTime. We make it happen. Sometimes, if you guys watched the interview that I did with her, we talked about how sometimes we put our phones up between the olive oil and the balsamic vinegar, and we have a FaceTime. And we talk every day. We do it in the pockets of our time. We will make time for friendship. And if you don't make time for friendship, that's totally your choice, right? But if you're saying you want to be a better friend, then I'm telling you, this is how you are a better friend. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. And anybody who works with me knows I am not a yes person. When somebody says I need or want, and then they come in with the reasons why they can't, I will come back and say, if you need it and you want it and you really want it and you really need it and it's a priority, you'll make it happen no matter what. You guys, there are people who walk on their hands because they don't have legs. I don't know many lives that are harder than that. If you can find time in your life to reteach yourself how to walk by walking on your hands because you have no legs, I think we can call a friend. You know what I'm saying? While cooking, exactly. It makes me think of Shay. So Shay is in the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood. She's also one of our moderators. 9 times out of 10, she comes onto our calls wearing an apron from her kitchen. Everybody notice that? And she's cooking for her children. But here she is connecting with not 1, not 2, but like 10 or 12 women. She shows up, right? From her kitchen. She doesn't care what the background looks like. She doesn't care if her hair's up in a bun. That's what she's worried about, is the connection. That's how you build a relationship. That's how you build know, like, and trust with people. You show up because you make them a priority, right? Sometimes I take client calls while I'm on the highway and I'll say, I'm driving, but it's important that I talk to you, right? I do that with my friends. So I'm sharing all of this because we have the power to do anything, but we have such limited beliefs. We have such an idea of how our life is now that we can't conceive that maybe if we live it a little bit different, it could drastically change. If you want a different life, you have to live differently. Okay, so God is able. This week we have been studying one of the most powerful promises in the scripture, which is He is able. Not because it promises wealth, not because it promises success, but because it reminds us where our confidence belongs. Our confidence belongs in God, right? If we're struggling with money, if we're struggling with friends, if we're struggling with connection, if we're struggling with our health, we don't take it upon ourselves. This has been the message all week. It is, you say to God, God, I need you to help me make a better schedule so that I have more time for my friends. God, I need you to help me with my time management because I'm finding myself scrolling and I'm not working. God, please help me with my mindset because every time I get excited about something, by the next day, I'm back where I was and I can't seem to stay on track. I need you to help me stay on track. We go to God. We don't depend on ourselves. But it reminds us that our confidence must lie in God. When we say God is able, God is able. He says, I am able. It doesn't say you are able in the scripture. Okay? So let's just take the scripture as it is. Let's not move it around and try to, fix it up so that it feels better. He is able. What does that mean? We need to lean into him. One thing I know for sure, people are exhausted. I can't tell you how many times in a day I say to somebody, hey, how's it going? And they say, I'm exhausted. Like, this is probably more common. Remember when people used to say, I'm good? Remember when people used to say, I'm good? You know what I get now? I'm exhausted. I'm struggling. Things are hard. I'm like, you guys, things have always been hard. When it wasn't one thing, it was another thing, right? I remember in 2000, when we were coming up to Y2K, year 2000, everybody went bonkers because they thought that the world was going to collapse. For about 6 months, everybody went off their rocker and it felt chaotic. And then New Year's came and went, nothing happened. There's always going to be a challenge. There's always going to be a struggle. There's always going to be an imminent crisis. But it's up to you to decide if you just say, everything is temporary. All of this stuff is just circumstance. Because it's not really important in the big picture. God doesn't see world leaders. God doesn't see anybody as king. He doesn't see anybody as any better than anybody else. We do. The chaos comes from us. So if we go to him, we get to skip over the chaos. That's why I'm like, I am not taking sides on anything because the reality is my leader, my God is king. And the one who is going to take charge is going to have a direct line to him. And that's not up to me. That's up to God. People are exhausted from carrying business. They're exhausted from carrying family. They're exhausted from carrying ministry. They're exhausted from the news. They're exhausted from the separation. They're exhausted from the divide. They're exhausted from the cost of gas. They're exhausted from the cost of food. They're exhausted because it costs, $1,000 to fly 200 kilometers. It's exhausting. And here we are trying to connect in a time when we're so divided. It's tiring, right? We're exhausted from carrying burdens that we weren't designed to carry. You guys, when we go onto social media and we see people getting shot in the head and girls getting beat up in a school ground and babies, being kidnapped out of cars, we're not supposed to see all of that. We're not really supposed to have access to all of the crisis and tragedy in the world. If we were, God would have designed us so that we knew everything that was going on all the time. But see, our nervous systems were not built to carry all of that. That's why we have people who are having full breakdowns. We're having people who are losing their minds, not because their life is bad, but because they cannot handle the state of the world. We're carrying burdens that aren't ours. We're not supposed to be doing all of this. There's too much. So this is why it's important for us to lean in. God says, before we talk about what you need, let's talk about who I am. Should we be sitting, here's a question, should we be sitting watching videos of women getting thrown over balconies? Is that a good use of our time? Should we be watching and scrolling through all of these videos that people are getting abused and shot and murdered and all of the terrible things and all of the negativity? Should we be spending our time there? What would Jesus do? Would he say, let's sit down and scroll through Instagram and TikTok and let's see how many horrific acts of violence that we can witness in an hour? Or would he say, let's go find the messages that are loving. Let's go find the messages that are prophetic. Let's go find the people who are aligned with my word. Let's go find your people. Let's go find your family. Or let's go find the people who have yet to hear from me. Instead of watching, let's create. Let's hit live. Let's share a testimony. Instead of sitting around watching other people, let's actually do something. Right? He wants us to focus on what he wants and who he is first. He's able, not us, not our boss, not your husband, not your partner, not your children, not your bestie, not your bank account, God. God is able. God is the one who will see it through. So when we're talking about abundance, because that's been the focus this week, he's the one that you want to go to. If you're looking for more abundance in your financial life, get on your knees and say, not God, give me money, because that's not how he works. Say, God, what am I going to say? Show me where to go. God, show me what to do. God, tell me what to say and to whom. Because that's an action prayer. What that means is I'm going to move. I'm going to listen. I'm going to be obedient. And from that, I know that you will bless me. Remember that he doesn't want to bless a mess. He doesn't want to bless somebody who's not being obedient. He loves us, but he's not going to go and bless that abusive marriage. He's not going to go and bless that gossipy relationship that you have. He's not going to bless that. What he's going to do is he's going to pull back and say, when you're ready to follow my laws, when you're ready to actually do what I'm telling you to do, which is listen to your intuition, then I'll bless it. Hi, Juanita. That jacket is a medium. I don't know if you saw my message. So point number 1, God is able. The first lesson from the scripture is simple. Your breakthrough begins where your self-sufficiency ends. Many strong women, anyone? Who here considers himself a strong woman? Put a heart in the comments. Put a heart in the comments. If you know in your belly, you might not like in this moment today feel strong, but you know, like you've been through hell and back. You have been through the fire, sister. You have made it through stuff that people don't talk about publicly. You have actually done more in your life and survived than the average bear. Like they could make a movie about your life and they would need a sequel because there's too much. If that's true, then you better be putting a heart in the comments. Because that's the definition of strong. It's not somebody that can hold things up today, just temporarily. It's the person who has been in the palm tree, who has been flying in the wind, and who will bend but not break, who will see things through, who knows that they have to pick up their mat and get up and walk, who understands that it's all temporary. It's all just chasing the wind. And that if you just get back up, and you get back up on your feet and you move forward, that you'll be able to turn around 5 feet from there and go, whew, I just made it through that. I never thought I could make it through that. I have women in my community whose children have been murdered, violently murdered. And these women are women who have said to me, I did not think that I would be able to make it through. I thought I would die. There were days when I had to remind myself to breathe. And yet, here I am. I'm actually alive. I might not be thriving just yet, but I'm on my way. And I'm showing up for calls, and I'm hanging out with good people, and I'm praying, I'm getting down on my knees, and I'm doing the work because I'm strong. Because I may bend, but I will not break. So if you're a bender but not a breaker, put a heart in the comments. Or a palm tree. Many strong women secretly struggle because they believe everything depends on them. Who here believes that everything depends on them? And maybe it has. Maybe you have trained the people around you to depend on you. No, I've got this. No, I'll do this because it's going to take you twice as long. Who cares if it takes twice as long? It gives you twice the rest. Like, how about them apples? You know, like, let's not try to control everything. But this is what happens, is we burn ourselves out. And then we get resentful and angry about it. You become the provider, the fixer, the planner, the problem solver, the packer, the caretaker, the burden bearer. And eventually, this woman who you felt was strong, this woman who is called you, is all of a sudden a prisoner. Like, you're a prisoner in your own home. You're a prisoner in your own marriage. You're a prisoner in your parenthood. Like, did you become a parent so that your children absolutely controlled your life? Like, I really admire women who say no to their kids. They're like, this is my time. You're gonna have to go find something to do. Like, that's not abusive. That's go use your imagination. I remember when my parents used to have Bible studies at our house when I was a kid. And it was an adult Bible study. They were talking about relationships and marriage and sex and all kinds of stuff. And my mom would send me upstairs. I didn't feel abused. And she didn't send me upstairs with an iPad. It was go up to your room. You have books. I was really like crafty. She said you could clean your closet. You could fold your clothes. You could lay on your bed and stare out the window. I don't care. But you're going to go up and spend some time alone because it's mom and dad's time. Man, did I admire that. Because guess what? I can be alone for days. You guys, I went to Europe. I went to Italy, Spain, and France for my 50th alone. I didn't need anybody to baby. I went for my 50th. I bought a one-way ticket alone. And I was there for almost a month, 3.5 weeks. I spend 95% of my time alone. And I know it's because my parents were like, go be a big girl. Like, go and learn who you are. I would sit and stare at things. I would write in my journal. I would walk through shops. I would sit and have a drink with somebody that I just met. Like, I did all of the things. But as a parent, it's not a prison. Like, let's look at the way that God parented Jesus, right? The Son of God. He asked him to do really difficult things, and he didn't change his mind because Jesus said, I'm just double checking because I don't really want to be put up on that cross. I'm just going to check in one more time. God was like, this is how we do it here. He's such a great example of what it means, like what the father-son relationship looks like. Anyway, I'm getting off track. And I don't even have kids, but I'm not telling you how to parent. But what I'm saying is if parenting is a prison, then you're the problem, not the child, right? And I really admire people who have children with special needs. And they go and they take time and they're like, he's not going to die, she's not going to die. They're with their sibling or their aunt or caretaker, but I might die. Like, I need to feed my soul because I have to take care of this. And so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna do things. And if they're gonna kick and scream, I'm just gonna have to be okay with that because I need my health and my sanity to be the better person. I really admire that. Like, that's mind-blowing to me. You stop depending on God, and the enemy loves women who believe that if they don't do it, nobody will. If they don't hold everything together, it will all fall apart. If they don't make it happen, it won't happen. The devil loves that kind of language because that's a divisive language. That's a weakening language. I'm going to give. Remember that the devil loves a weak woman. I'm going to give till I have nothing left, and then I'm going to start drinking. And then I'm going to start messaging the guy. Then I'm going to start doing the things that aren't healthy for me because I feel like I have no boundaries. And that's when he sneaks in. That's when he shows up. God is saying you were never designed to carry what only I can carry. Faith begins where control ends. The enemy loves when women believe it. That's right. The question today and this week is not, are you able, right? This whole week we've been focusing on surrender. Surrendering and trading control in for abundance, which sounds pretty good to me. One is exhausting and one is peaceful and infinite. There shouldn't even be a question. But the real question is, do you believe God is able? And I want you to really think about this for a minute. Do you really believe that God is able to change your life? Or do you just come onto the lives and listen to me talk and read your Bible and go to Bible study and listen to other people, and you scroll all of the different pastors and all the different people who are sharing this message, but you don't think it really applies to you? Because as long as you don't believe that it applies to you, you're right. Because he demands faith. Remember, he is not a gray area God. You're either in or you're out. You're either all in or all out, but you can't be half in, half out. You can't. And we do this in relationships, right? We do this in all kinds of things. And what he wants us to do is make decisions that align with what he wants for us. And how do we know what he wants for us? Well, number one, it says it in the Bible. Where's my Bible? Here's my Bible. I forgot to pull my Bible out this morning. It says it right here. Right? Over and over and over and over and over again, it says, have faith. It doesn't say, depend on yourself. It says, have faith in me and you will have eternal life. Number two. So point one, just to clarify, because I know I got off. Point one is God is able. Point two is abundance is more than money. And this is just a reminder. When we talk about abundance, because when people think about abundance, they think about money. Make sure that you're sharing this out, by the way. Share this live out. Invite people, tag people, let people know about this conversation. This is such an important conversation for women. This is actually, like, what I do on these lives is kind of a combination of ministry / coaching. It's kind of what I do on my coaching calls with my clients, except we go deeper in their personal stories. And by the way, I do one-on-one. I take one-on-one clients for coaching. I love working with women one-on-one because they grow so fast. I call it exponential growth in my space. We move quickly because we pull the veil back on what it is that's going on in their life specifically. So if you're somebody who's looking for a one-on-one mentor, send me an email at info@theuncommon.com. info@theuncommon.com. Okay? But this is the kind of stuff that I do with my clients, but I walk them through the process. I don't just share it. I share it and then we go, let's do this thing. Let's make a plan. And then I hold them accountable. And the women in my world move so quickly as a result of that kind of conversation. Because you have to move quickly in my world. You guys know I don't sit around, right? But you got to be activated by somebody. And so the activation is what shifts you. Okay, so point number two, abundance is more than money. When most people hear abundance, they think dollars, right? But it's so much bigger because dollars come and go. You can have a bunch of money in your bank account and then, I don't know, the IRS can come in and take it, or, the banks close, or there's a crisis or maybe you have a bunch of money in investments and then overnight it crashes. I've heard this story lots of times. Overnight it crashes and you lose it all. Money comes and goes, but abundance from your internal world is untouchable. God thinks so much bigger. Money is just like a small drop in the bucket for him. Some women need money, but some women need an abundance of courage. If you are living in an abusive relationship, if you are living in a marriage that's unhappy, if you are constantly fighting and you see no end and you would get out if you could financially, then you need courage to leave and go find money to get you out. So you need courage. You don't need money. Because somebody who is broke but who is determined to get out will leave anyway. How do I know? Because that's what I did. I was broke and I left anyway. So if you're staying because of money, you're actually not staying because of money. You're staying because you don't have the courage to leave and go get your own money. Maybe you have to go to a shelter. Maybe you have to live with a girlfriend. Maybe you have to move back in with your parents. And if you don't, because of pride, then what you need is courage. You don't need money. There's always going to be money. So you got to get to the root of the real problem. Some women need confidence. I know I have gifts. I know I'm strong. I know I can do amazing things, but I don't have the confidence to step out and do it. You need confidence. By the way, confidence doesn't come first. You have to do something to be confident in it. So if you want to be confident at going live, guess what you have to do? You have to hit the button. You don't get confident staring at something, right? So I think of like an Olympic swimmer. They don't become an Olympic swimmer and a confident swimmer from standing on the side of the pool staring at it. They had to jump in that pool the first time, and then they had to go back the second time, and then they had to go back the third time, and then they start building their confidence. Never comes first. When people say to me, oh, how are you so confident? I say, you're asking me the wrong question, because it's not how am I confident? It's what do you do every day? What courageous moves do you take every day? Where do you get your energy? Where do you get your courage? And I'll say, God. And I'm a mover. I'm a risk taker. I do things because I never want to be in the same place a week from now. If I'm not growing, I'm dead. So don't ask me how I'm so confident. Ask me where my courage comes from. And I'll say, God. I've always had a direct line to God. Now, there were times when I was hardly in his orbit, but the direct line was there. When I got on my knees, the biggest move I made remember the whole story about me being on my knees, and I was a gym owner, and God said, I want you to lead a movement. That was the biggest decision that I'd ever made up until that point in my life. And that decision came from a conversation with God. So that's where I get my courage from. And then through courage, I build confidence. Now I can shift all over the place. I just do it. Some women need an abundance of peace. Some women need wisdom. Help me make wise decisions because I have a history of making bad decisions. Some women need healing. Some women need hope. Which do you need? Put it in the comments. What do you need? What do you need an abundance of right now? I'm interested in having you as a mentor. Okay, send me, Juanita, send me an email. info@theuncommonwoman.com. I would love to work with you. Nothing lights me up more than working with a woman and watching her transform, right? I love to get that close to people because it can really activate them. And we can work on the sticky parts that you might be avoiding. That's one of the good things about a mentor. They pull the Band-Aid off. Okay. Abundance is anything God supplies that enables you to fulfill your purpose. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Abundance is anything that God supplies that enables you to fulfill your purpose. Think about that. So if you're not fulfilling your purpose right now, there's probably something that you need. Listen to this. If you're somebody who's walking around saying, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what my calling is, have you asked for an abundance of something? Have you said, Lord, I just need abundance of wisdom, or I need an abundance of courage, or I need an abundance of friends. Maybe I need, I don't know, an abundance of money. Maybe you need to go to an event. I don't know. But get clear about what you need and then ask for it. Show me. Show it to me. Right? Remember we talked about that a few weeks ago? Show me, tell me, lead me. We have him as such an incredible resource. It's incredible how many people don't use him. What good is money if you're drowning in anxiety? What good is success if you're exhausted? What good is influence if you're empty? So maybe you want to be an influencer. But if your soul is empty, then that's not the thing to pray for. Don't pray to be an influencer. I want an abundance of influence. I want to have... You know what? Pray for an abundance of peace and fulfillment because people want to be around people who are peaceful and fulfilled, right? That's who they want to be around. So if you want to be an influencer, go at it from who you be, not what you do. That's the difference. The richest woman in the room is not always the wealthiest woman. Sometimes the richest woman in the room is overflowing with peace. She walks in to a room and people go, wow, there's something about her that's different. I love when I walk into a room and people say, I saw you from across the room and I had to come and meet you. And I'll say, wow, thank you. What was it? And they'll say, there was just something about your energy. And I'll say, thank you for saying that, because I've done a ton of work. And the fact that my energy shows that I've done the work means something. Right? So you can have all the money in the world, but if nobody wants to be around you because your energy is funky, then what's the point? Do the inner work and everything else falls into place. Scarcity is not the absence of money. Scarcity is the absence of fulfillment. When God fills a woman, she becomes abundant regardless of her circumstances. I know people that don't have anything. Like they're broke, they don't have a house, they don't have a car, they don't have anything. They're starting at rock bottom. But they're peaceful. They left the marriage, they left the abuse, they left the cult. They're taking care of their health, they quit drinking or whatever the thing is. And they're like, I might have nothing out there, but I have everything in here. And those people usually grow and build really fast. Why? Because fulfillment is what attracts people. Fulfillment, joy, positivity, God, faith, that attracts people. We talked about being a safe place for women last night. I said, when you're a safe place for other women, when people want to be around you, you're winning, right? Okay, point number 3. God blesses us to be a blessing. The purpose of abundance is contribution. God never intended his blessings to terminate with us. They are meant to flow through us. A Dead Sea receives but never gives, and because it doesn't flow outward, it becomes stagnant. Many women want abundance but don't want the responsibility around it. But abundance always carries responsibility. Hi, Adam. I'm going to skip over the questions there, guys. There are people waiting for your story. There are women who need to hear what you've been through. There are people waiting for your leadership. There are people waiting for your generosity. There are people who need what you have, or they need you to be abundant because you have a giving heart. And if you're abundant and you have a giving heart, they're waiting for you to enter their world because they are struggling, they're suffering. That's what Jesus would do, right? He would go to the people who were suffering. That's where he went. He went to the people that needed him. He didn't always go into the rooms of people who didn't need him because that was a waste of his time. He was only around for 33 years. God doesn't increase us so we can impress people. He increases us so we can impact people. Every blessing carries an assignment. So what's your assignment? If you are blessed, I promise you that there's an assignment connected to it. Abundance requires agreement. This is point 4. This is where many of us get stuck. You pray one thing and speak another. You pray for increase, but expect lack. So you don't really believe it. You pray for opportunities, but you expect rejection. See the problem? You pray for abundance, but you talk about scarcity. The kingdom works through faith. God says, I am able. The question becomes, do you have faith in me? Right? Agreement is often the bridge between promise and manifestation. What does that mean? That you have to agree with God. You have to say, yes, I agree, you are able, in order to have the abundance given to you. So faith, agreement, action, prayer, love, surrender. These are the words that we're talking about this week. Fear speaks from circumstances. Faith speaks from promises. Okay, I'm going to skip down to the very end here. Listen up. You are not created to spend your life managing your lack, okay? Some of you are just managing lack, like you're just putting out fires. That's all you're doing. You were not meant to put out fires and manage your lack. Who feels like they're just managing lack? Like just give a bunch of hearts, like just hit the heart. Who feels like all they're doing right now is just managing lack? Do not let fear convince you that your future is hopeless. The same God who called Joshua across the river, we talked about this a few weeks ago, or last week, is calling you. Do not walk by fear, panic, or lack. Instead, walk by faith, wisdom, courage, and the strength of the one who goes before us. Just walk with Jesus. Just decide to shift over to another path. That's it. Sis, your strength is not in your bank account. Your strength is not in your business performance. Your strength is not in others supporting you. Your strength is in knowing that God will not abandon you in this season. He will guide you, but you must follow. He will teach you, but you must be open to learning. He will stretch you, but you must be willing to move. He will provide for you, but you must be willing to receive. So many of you have your hands closed. You won't receive blessings because you don't either think that they're actually there for you, they're not real, or you're not worthy, or you're afraid. Some of you have a calling on your heart, a beautiful calling, and you're resisting it because you don't think that you're ready. You don't think that you're worthy. You don't think that you were chosen. It's a joke. It's not real. So you're resisting it. Do you see what I'm saying? That's a blessing. If you were to step into your calling, your life would be blessed. So many of your problems would just go away. But you're resisting. I see this all the time. This is why women need mentorship, because they don't see that. He will provide for you, but you must be willing to receive. He will correct you, but you must be obedient. And he will strengthen you, but you must be willing to do the work. So you can't expect him to come in and strengthen you in your time of weakness if you're just sitting there. Remember that Jesus said, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. This guy could not walk. This guy was crippled. And God said, Jesus said, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. It wasn't if you feel ready, when you feel ready. I'm sorry that you're in this situation. Jesus said, stop complaining, stop being a victim. He said to him, do you want to be healed? He actually, before he healed him, he said, do you want to be healed? And when the man said yes, he said, okay, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. Same thing. Do you want to be healed? Do you want to have an abundant life? Do you want to live a better life? Do you want to expand? Do you want to heal? Do you want to grow? Do you want to love again? Do you want to be happy again? Do you want to be peaceful? You have to say yes or no. There's no gray area. There's no, yeah, but I don't have time. Yeah, well, maybe later. It's yes or no. And then if it's a yes, you go now. That's the difference. That's right, sister. Move. Get up and move. When you are obedient to his calling on your life and lean into him, all things will be taken care of because he will provide you with the strength to do them. And just remember, Philippians 4 verse 13 says, I can do all things. How does it go? Through Christ who strengthens me. We did it! We did another week. You guys, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much for being here all week. We did one whole week at the cafe. We're gonna stay in this location because it feels really good to me. It feels abundant. It feels juicy. I love the pink walls, even though you can't see them, I think, on Instagram. We're gonna move things around so that you guys all have a better view. But this was phase 1. I love you so much. Thank you for joining. I invite you to be part of the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood. It's a sisterhood of women who want deeper friendships with other women and a closer walk with God. And the women in that community are finding their friends, some of them for the first time in decades. Women who they can open up to and talk about things that they don't normally talk about. Like last night, the women were giving testimonies in the call, and it was mind-blowing. Some of them were like, I'm talking about things I don't talk about with my closest friends or my family in this community. It's special, it's healing, and all of these women are transforming. Go to RomieMarlowe.com. You guys, it's $29 a month. Like, you spend that at the thrift store. Invest in yourself. Like, one of the first things you got to do is invest in your friendships. You know my girlfriend Michelle, and if you have to leave, go ahead and leave. Sorry, I'm just going to talk for 1 minute. My girlfriend Michelle, thank you for joining. My girlfriend Michelle, you know how much I paid for her? $15,000. What do you mean I paid $15,000 for her? She and I were in a mastermind together, and we each paid $15,000. And you know what we always say? Some of the best friendships that you're ever gonna have are in rooms where people invest in themselves. Okay, so I'm gonna show you something, or tell you something. Success leaves clues, right? There are people who never invest in themselves, but they'll spend a ton of money on clothes and booze and stuff for their house, a bunch of crap they don't need, okay? But they don't invest in themselves. They don't do any healing. They don't do any of the inner work. And then they want to be your friend. And then when things get hard, they exit, they abandon, they go cold, they ice you out because they haven't done the work. They've never invested in themselves. They've never sat in a room with other people and listened. So the thing about investing in a room, and this isn't even a big investment. I mean, maybe $29 is a big investment for some people, and that's fine. But you know, what I'm saying is, comparatively speaking, we spend a lot of money on a lot of stuff, and don't tell me that you don't. Because people are doing like Amazon and all kinds of stuff. But then you have friends who invest in themselves. Friends who are in the same room, going through some of the same challenges, experiencing some of the same growth at the same time, having positive and powerful conversations with you. That's a different kind of friendship. You compare that friendship to a friendship with somebody that you met in high school that used to be your drinking buddy, it's like day and night. So get in the room. You can go to RomieMarlowe.com. Right now you get $10 off your first month. So if you put in June 10 in the coupon code, June 10, capital letters, June 10, the mods will put it in the comments, you save $10 for the first month, and you can leave at any time. But what I'm saying is that this is where real sisterhood happens. Michelle is probably one of my greatest life friends, and I paid a lot of money for her. But I found her in a room where women invest in themselves, and that's not a coincidence. Because that's how our conversation and our friendship started. And to this day, we still have those same kinds of conversations. We don't talk, I mean, we talk about surface stuff when we're just sitting around, but we go deep a lot. And it's because that's how we met. That's our baseline. So if your baseline is that, it's not sitting at the bar, it's not sitting at a slot machine, it's not shopping, it's not gossiping. If your baseline is personal growth, spiritual growth, building a relationship with God, that friendship is already leaps and bounds ahead of other friendships. Do you know what I mean? So that's why this room is special, because it's just women. It's only women, and we're building friendships. Like I said to the women last night, the focus of this group right now for me is creating a community where women find their lifetime friends. And we can talk about things that only women talk about, and nobody is ashamed, and nobody is embarrassed, and nobody feels like they don't belong. So get in the room. Okay, if you want one of the jackets, so we have this jean jacket, okay? You can go to my link tree. There's a jean jacket button on there. That's where you would purchase this one. And then I'll see it and I'll email you, and then we'll have a phone call. And then there's the black pinstripe. And I believe that the pinstripe button is still up. If not, I'll put it up. You just have to, it's just so easy. You just go in and purchase it, and then I'll send you an email. Okay? I love you so much. I'm tired of doing life alone. Come into our group. Get into the group. You don't need to do life alone. You don't need to do life alone. I love you, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Have an incredible, incredible day. I love you. Hope to see you inside the sisterhood. Ciao, ciao. Have a great weekend. Wish me luck with my baby. My baby's coming. What time is it? 8 hours he's gonna be here. I'm so excited. Okay, I have to go get ready. Love you guys. Bye.